Let me tell you something. Discipline ain't sexy, but it's the difference between greatness and regret. Too many people in this room right now are praying for success, but living like it's optional. You say you want it, but your habits don't match your mouth.
Listen, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be respected, but very few are willing to discipline themselves when nobody's watching. You want the rewards, but you don't want the routine. You want the spotlight, but you avoid the sacrifice. Let me be real. If you don't discipline yourself, life will discipline you. And that pain don't go away. That pain becomes regret. Regret will haunt you longer than any failure ever could. So stay with me today, because I'm going to show you 6 keys to mastering discipline before regret destroys your potential. Don't you dare click off. Your future self is counting on what you do right now. Let me be real with you. The mirror never lies. You can fool your friends. You can fool your family. You can even fool your followers on social media. But that reflection staring back at you, that's the one person you can't lie to. See, discipline doesn't start in the gym. It doesn't start at your job. It doesn't start in the classroom. It starts in the mirror. That's where the battle begins. That's where the truth lives. The mirror exposes everything: your habits, your excuses, your lack of consistency. You can't hide from that glass. Most people don't look in the mirror long enough to face themselves. They look just long enough to fix their hair, not their habits. They check their outfit, not their outlook. But listen, until you're willing to be honest about who you are, you'll never become who you were meant to be. I remember a young man came up to me after a speech once, eyes full of frustration. He said, "E.T., I want to be successful, but I just can't stick discipline. I try to wake up early. I try to stay focused, but it never lasts." I looked him in the eye and asked, "Be honest, do you really try, or do you just say that because it sounds good?" He got quiet. I said, "You say you can't wake up early, but I bet you woke up early for that flight to Miami. You can't stay focused, but you can binge Netflix for 3 hours straight. You can't afford to eat clean, but you can afford those sneakers." He dropped his head, and I told him, "Bro, the problem ain't sits your ability, it sits your honesty. You've been lying to yourself so long, you started believing the lies." You see, the mirror doesn't judge, it just reflects. And discipline starts when you stop arguing with that reflection and start fixing it. When you can look yourself in the eye and say, "I'm not doing my best, and I'm the reason why," that's the moment growth begins. When I was homeless, sleeping in an abandoned building, I didn't have much, but I had that mirror moment. I looked at myself and said, "E, this ain't your mama's fault. This ain't the system, this is you." That conversation changed my life. I stopped waiting for motivation and started demanding discipline from myself. Because once you face the truth, you take back your power. You stop being a victim and start being the architect of your own success. So today, before you chase another dream, before you post another quote, before you make another plan, go stand in front of that mirror. Don't sit still, look away. Don't sit sugar-coated. Ask yourself, am I giving everything I got? If the answer is no, good. You just found your starting line. Because the mirror never lies, but it will lead you to the truth that sets you free. Listen to me. Pain is temporary, but regret is forever. You've got to make a decision right now. Do you want to suffer for a season or suffer for a lifetime? See, too many people quit because the process hurts. You start something, it gets uncomfortable, and suddenly you say, "Maybe this isn't for me." But I came to tell you, the pain you're running from is the very thing that will build you. You don't grow in comfort, you grow in conflict. Let me take you back. When I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, no bed, no food, no plan, it hurt. But every single morning I said to myself, this pain is not permanent. This is not how my story ends. That mindset kept me alive. That discipline to push through the pain gave me purpose, because I knew if I quit, that pain would turn into something far worse: regret. I remember meeting a young brother in Chicago once. Smart, talented, gifted, could have gone anywhere in life. He got accepted into college, but dropped out his second semester because it got hard. A few years later, I saw him again. He said, "E, every time I see my friends graduate, I feel something inside me die." That sits regret talking. Regret is the echo of discipline you refuse to have. It sits the voice that whispers, "You can spend more." Pain, you can recover from. You can work through it. You can grow past it. But regret follows you into your sleep. It sneaks into your thoughts when you see others doing what you once dreamed of. Let me make it real for you. Serena Williams trained with torn muscles. Kobe Bryant shot free throws with a broken hand. Michael Jordan played through the flu. You think they didn't feel pain? Of course they did. But they understood something powerful. Pain passes, legacy doesn't. And I need you to hear me. Your pain has a purpose. The struggle you're in today is building the strength you need for tomorrow. Every time you push through the hurt, you're teaching your mind that you can endure, that you can rise, that you're built different. But when you give up, when you choose comfort over commitment, you're choosing regret. And that regret doesn't just fade, it multiplies. It shows up years later when you see someone living the dream you were too scared to fight for. Let that sink in. Do you want 5 minutes of pain or 50 years of regret? Because discipline hurts now, but regret hurts forever. So I'm telling you right now, embrace the pain. Don't run from it. Don't pray it away. Use it. Channel it. Let it shape you. Because every rep, every late night, every early morning is making you stronger than your excuses. You can cry, you can bleed, you can fall, but don't you dare quit. The pain you feel today is nothing compared to the regret of never becoming who you were meant to be. And when that moment comes, when it's stitched over, and you look back, you once did say it was easy. You should say it was worth it. Let me talk to you real quick. You say you want success, but you hate structure. You want to win, but you don't want rules. You want freedom, but you refuse to follow order. Listen to me, you can't have success without structure. Everybody wants to be great until they realize greatness is boring. Yeah, I said it, boring. Because greatness is built in repetition, it's built in routines, it's built in discipline that most people don't see, don't celebrate, and don't clap for. You see, structure is the foundation that supports your dreams. You can have the most beautiful vision, the biggest ambition, but without structure, it collapses. That's why so many people start strong and fade fast. They have energy, but no system. They have passion, but no process. I'll never forget when I met a young basketball player, talented, hungry, explosive on the court, but he had no routine. He showed up late to practice, skipped conditioning, eat junk, then complained that he wasn't getting minutes in the game. I told him, son, talent might get you noticed, but structure keeps you relevant. He didn't get it at first, but one day his coach benched him for the entire season. He was mad, furious. I said, good, now you got time to build a routine. He started waking up at 5 a.m., training every day, studying film, eating clean, sleeping early. A year later, that same player got a full scholarship.
See the difference? Same talent, but now he had structure.
I need you to understand this. Success is not spontaneous. Nobody wakes up accidentally successful. Structure is the architecture of achievement. Look at any champion, any leader, any high performer. They live by systems. Serena Williams didn't just want to win. She built her life around discipline. Her days were scheduled down to the minute workouts, meals, recovery, mindset work. You look at her trophies now, but that gold came from structure. You think Kobe Bryant just walked into greatness? No, that man had a routine that most people couldn't survive. He woke up at 4 a.m. for training, practice before sunrise, film study after dark, over and over. That's not motivation. That's structure creating consistency. And here's the truth. Structure doesn't limit you. It frees you. Because when your habits are in order, your mind is clear. You stop wasting energy deciding what to do and start using that energy to execute. You can't build a skyscraper on sand. You need structure to rise. So stop saying, I don't like routines. Winners love what works. Losers love what's easy. Discipline gives you direction. Structure gives you stability. Together, they give you success. When I started my speaking career, I didn't have fans or followers. I had a routine. I woke up early, studied for hours, practiced in empty classrooms. Every day, same structure. And guess what? That structure turned a homeless man into the #1 motivational speaker in the world. So don't you dare run from structure, run to it. Because structure is not your prison, it's your passport. It's the key that takes you from dreaming to doing, from wanting to winning. Stay disciplined, stay structured, and success will have no choice but to find you. Let me keep it 100 with you. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. Motivation is that spark that gets you started. Discipline is the fire that keeps you going when the spark burns out. See, too many of you are addicted to motivation. You wake up, scroll YouTube, listen to me, to Les Brown, to Inky Johnson. You get fired up. You sit ready to move mountains until the alarm goes off the next morning. Then suddenly, you don't feel like it. Let me tell you something. Success doesn't care about your feelings. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what fits the mission. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Let me give you an example. I had a student once, talented, smart, full of potential. He told me, E.T., when I step motivated, I can do anything. I said, that's your problem, son. You only move when you step motivated. He said to start strong, new goals, new habits, big dreams, and then one bad day, one distraction, one failure, and boom, he said it's done. I told him, that is why you keep starting over every month. You don't have discipline. You have mood swings. See, motivation is like fuel in your tank. It'll get you moving, but if you don't have a system, if you don't build discipline, you'll run out of gas every time the road gets tough. When I started speaking, I wasn't waking up every day feeling inspired. Some days I didn't feel like studying. I didn't feel like writing. I didn't feel like practicing, but I still did it. Why? Because I made a decision that my commitment was greater than my feelings. You think Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or Tom Brady felt like training every day? You think they felt like studying film after everyone else went home? No, but they understood something. Feelings don't build legacies. Habits do. Motivation is what gets you to the gym. Discipline is what keeps you there after the soreness kicks in. Motivation makes promises. Discipline keeps them. Motivation shouts. Discipline whispers, but that whisper gets results. You got to reach a point where you stop saying, I need to feel ready, and start saying, I'm doing it whether I feel ready or not. That's where transformation happens. I remember when I first started waking up at 3 a.m., not because it felt good, but because I had to get ahead. I had to study, plan, work while others slept. I didn't have motivation every morning. I had mission. That's what separates the average from the great. The average work when it's convenient. The great work when it's required. And here's the truth. Motivation fades because it depends on emotion. Discipline lasts because it depends on decision. So stop chasing that high. You don't need another motivational video. You need a moment of honesty. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I stopped waiting to feel like it? Because when motivation fades, and it will, discipline is what will carry you across the finish line. Every champion you admire didn't stay motivated. They stayed consistent. And that's the secret. You don't have to feel good to do good. You just have to do it anyway. So stop waiting on motivation to show up. Be your own reminder. Be your own fire. Be disciplined enough to keep showing up long after the feeling is gone. Listen to me carefully. Your environment shapes your discipline. You can't pray for greatness while surrounding yourself with average. You can't say you want to fly high while living in a cage with people who don't even want to stretch their wings. Let me say it plain. Your surroundings are either feeding your focus or starving it. You can't expect to stay disciplined when everyone around you is comfortable being lazy. Energy is contagious. Habits are contagious. So if you're hanging around people who complain, procrastinate, and settle, guess what you're going to do? You still start making excuses just like them. I tell folks all the time, you can't soar with eagles if you're pecking around with chickens. Chickens stay on the ground, making noise, talking about what they could have been. Eagles, they fly above the noise. They move in silence. They build discipline through distance. Let me give you a real story. I remember mentoring a young man named Chris. This brother was sharp, big dreams, big drive. But every time I checked on him, he was still hanging with the same crew doing nothing. I said, Chris, you keep telling me you want to be successful, but every time I look up, you're surrounded by people who don't even want to leave the block. He said, E.T., they my boys, I can still lead them. I said, if they were really your boys, they still push you to become who you were meant to be, not keep you stuck where you were born. 1 year later, he called me crying. His best friend got locked up. The rest were still doing the same thing. He said, E, I finally get it. I can't grow in the same soil that's choking me. That day, he moved, changed his environment, found a new circle, people who worked, studied, dreamed big. Within 2 years, that man owned his own business. See, that's what happens when you change your environment. Your mindset shifts. You start seeing what's possible. You start catching different habits. Discipline becomes natural when everyone around you is chasing excellence. When I started my speaking career, I had to distance myself too. I love my people, but some of them didn't love growth. I remember one friend said, "E, you've changed." And I said, that's the point. Because if I'm in the same place, doing the same things with the same people after 5 years, that's not loyalty, that's limitation. Understand this, discipline thrives in the right environment. If you're around people who wake up early, you'll start waking up early. If you're around people who grind, you'll start grinding. But if you're surrounded by negativity and distraction, you'll drown in it. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your environment. So look around. Who are you hanging with? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you backward? You might have to walk alone for a season. You might lose some people. But hear me, loneliness for a while is better than regret for a lifetime. Surround yourself with builders, dreamers, disciplined soldiers. Get around people who make focus look normal, who talk about goals like gossip. Because when your environment changes, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, your entire life follows. Let me drop this on you. Discipline doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. Every time you make a disciplined decision, you're not just checking a box, you're building your identity. You see, most people think discipline is about behavior. I need to wake up early. I need to hit the gym. I need to study more. No, that's surface level. Real discipline goes deeper. It's about becoming someone new. It's about shifting from I'm trying to be disciplined to I am disciplined. When I was young, I used to think success came from motivation. But the truth, it came from transformation. Discipline built my identity. When I was homeless, I was my dad, just fighting to survive. I was fighting to become. I made a choice every single day to act like the man I wanted to be, not the man my situation said I was. I said to myself, one day, you still gonna be somebody, so start living like it now. I didn't have money, I didn't have a home, but I had structure, I had routine, I had consistency, and those small acts of discipline built my confidence, built my habits, built my identity as a winner. Let me tell you a story about a young woman I met at one of my events. She had struggled with her weight her whole life. Every year she start a new diet, lose a few pounds, then quit. She said, "Aaron, I keep falling off. I just don't have discipline." I told her, stop saying you still trying to lose weight. Start saying you still an athlete. She looked at me crazy. I said, I sit serious. The body follows the identity. You still been approaching this like a temporary project instead of a permanent mindset. 6 months later, she came back. She had lost over 70 pounds. She said, "E, I stopped dieting and started training. I stopped saying T. I can stretch and started saying T. I am T." That's what discipline does. It rewires who you are. It makes excellence your normal. See, the problem with most people is they're stuck in an old story. They keep saying, I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, I always quit. That's not who you are. That's who you were. And discipline is the bridge between your past and your potential. Every time you wake up early when you don't want to, you're building identity. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're building identity. Every time you do the right thing, even when nobody's watching, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted with greatness. That's why I tell people, stop waiting to feel disciplined. Start acting like the person you want to become. Because identity is not found, it's forged. Listen to me, the reason the disciplined win is because their habits align with their identity. They don't just do it sometimes. They do it because that's who they are. So if you want to change your life, stop working on your goals for a second and start working on your identity. Who do you say you are? A dreamer or a doer? Someone who tries or someone who becomes? Discipline builds identity, and once you know who you are, nothing in this world can stop you. Listen to me. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards performance, consistency, and discipline. Every single day you delay, regret gets stronger. But every single day you stay disciplined, your dream gets closer. So I need you to wake up tomorrow and make a promise to yourself. I will not be destroyed by regret. I will control what I can control. I will outwork my excuses. I will become the most disciplined version of myself, no matter how long it takes. Because at the end of the day, discipline ain't punishment. It's freedom. And when you live with discipline, you'll never have to live with regret. Now go get it. It's your time.